Have you ever noticed that some people genuinely prefer staying at home? Not because they're lazy, not because they're antisocial, not because they have no life, but because home feels different. For certain personalities, home is not just a physical place, it's a psychological sanctuary, a space where the nervous system softens, the mind slows down, and identity feels intact. Today, we're exploring the mental, emotional, and neurological reasons why some people truly love staying at home. And what this preference reveals about the brain might surprise you. One of the most misunderstood traits in psychology is introversion. Many people confuse introversion with shyness, but they are not the same thing. Introverts are not afraid of people. They simply process stimulation differently. Neurologically, introverted brains are more sensitive to dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with reward and stimulation, while extroverts often require higher levels of external activity to feel energized. Introverts reach their optimal stimulation much faster. Crowded rooms, loud environments, and unpredictable social dynamics don't feel exciting to them. They feel overwhelming. So when an introvert chooses to stay home, it's not avoidance, it's regulation. Home provides controlled stimulation, predictable sounds, predictable lighting, predictable interactions. And predictability lowers cognitive load. The brain isn't escaping life. It's managing energy. But energy isn't the only factor. Some people feel drained after social interaction, even when the interaction was pleasant. That's because the nervous system is constantly scanning for subtle cues, tone shifts, facial expressions, micro-judgments, unspoken tension. Highly sensitive and emotionally aware individuals process these signals deeply. That constant processing consumes mental bandwidth. It creates invisible fatigue. At home, most of that uncertainty disappears. There's less performance, less impression management, less emotional guessing. The nervous system can finally downregulate. And when the body feels safe, the mind relaxes. For many people who love staying home, it's not isolation. It's restoration. There's also something called cognitive safety, the feeling that your environment is predictable and manageable. Humans are wired to seek control because unpredictability activates stress responses. When cortisol rises, vigilance increases, and prolonged vigilance leads to mental exhaustion. Home offers environmental control, lighting, temperature, noise. It offers social control, who enters your space. And it offers behavioral freedom. No masks, no roles, no constant self-monitoring. For certain personalities, the outside world feels like continuous micro-negotiation. At home, negotiation ends. Now, there's a common misconception that preferring comfort means avoiding growth. But neurologically, comfort activates the parasympathetic nervous system, slowing heart rate, reducing muscle tension, lowering stress hormones. The brain associates home with safety memories, familiar smells, soft lighting, personal objects. These cues trigger grounding. In attachment psychology, this resembles a secure base. And a secure base doesn't prevent exploration. It makes exploration possible. Some people go out to escape their thoughts. Others stay home to understand them. And in today's overstimulated world, with notifications, traffic, noise, constant comparison, staying home can feel like reclaiming mental space. People who prefer solitude often have rich inner worlds, strong imagination, deep reflection, ongoing internal dialogue. They don't feel bored alone because their minds are active. Solitude becomes a place of integration, where thoughts settle and emotions process. Yet society often misunderstands them, labels them unmotivated, too comfortable, missing out, strange. But preference for solitude often correlates with self-sufficiency, emotional independence, analytical thinking, and a reduced need for external validation. They don't chase stimulation, they curate it. They don't avoid connection. They avoid unnecessary noise. Of course, there's an important distinction to make. A healthy preference for staying home feels peaceful. It feels chosen. It includes meaningful relationships and doesn't stem from fear. Unhealthy isolation feels anxious, forced, driven by avoidance or depression. It shrinks life instead of stabilizing it. The difference isn't location, it's emotional tone. Is home your sanctuary or your hiding place? For some individuals, home represents safety, autonomy, authenticity, and recovery. It's where the mask drops, where the nervous system resets, where identity feels stable again, and in a world that constantly demands performance, that kind of stability is powerful. So if you prefer staying home, maybe you're not antisocial. Maybe your brain values regulation over stimulation. Maybe your nervous system prioritizes safety over chaos. Maybe your inner world is simply richer than the outside noise. The real question isn't, why don't you go out more? It's, where do you feel most yourself? Because sometimes home isn't an escape, it's alignment.